back with Richard Reviews. Today we are reviewing a book for richardreviews.com/griffinchestnut here on YouTube. Today's book that Richard will be reviewing for us is titled Joseph Beuys, Early Watercolors and Drawings. This is the Shimmer Arts book by Werner Schade. This is a philosophical and artistic rendering review of most of early watercolors and drawings of Senor Joseph Beuys. Joseph Beuys is a performance artist from the early 40s who Richard admires and takes very seriously. This is a passion project for Richard himself to read as much as he can about Mr. Joseph Beuys, anything that's concerning him, anything that has a matter of the house that Richard can eat with, or if there's anything that he can have a married life to begin the concerned notion of Mr. Joseph Beuys. Richard read this piece in 2014, the same year he purchased it, and this is an official piece of Richard's collection. This is an ultimate sacrificial piece. Richard takes very highly of this piece, and we're going to take a look at it and review it. As you can tell, the cover is quartified, and it's quartified with a fresh quartified notion to both pieces. Boom, boom. Okay, right on the top. Flap down, flap down, flap down, flap down. It says Joseph Beuys. Okay, extreme watercoloring. This is as extreme as you're going to get. Somebody like Joseph Beuys doesn't just put out a piece or a art piece in the same notion as you would if you were under the influence of alcohol or marijuana. Richard claims this is a fortified piece that brought together a lot of pizza and some bagels, and you can tell that through the piece itself. This is a hardcover. It's a hard piece. You don't find too many of these around. It's a rarity, and we're going to take a look at it. It's in very good condition all around. It's got good shine, and it's got good cream all along the sides. It's not too big of a piece, as you can tell, but it's definitely worth its weight in gold. As you can tell, it's a pretty diagonal piece, and it's also a very triagonal piece. The triagonal goes from two ways. It goes from north to south, nipple to nipple, and you can tweet it a little bit, and when you tweet it, it gets thrown around a little bit, and that's what you really want to get to. You want to get to how it gets thrown from side to side. So you have these two nipples at the top, two nipples at the bottom, and you can gauge it by the diameter, okay? Sort of like how the factless person is burned. It's happening because they cause a giant rain cloud, and it just wipes down. It wipes down the fire, and she gets blown away. And by the end of this, you realize that not only does she get blown away, but she is formed through the idiosyncrasies of the spring section. And the spring section can be rather helpful indeed, and indeed rather helpful, as Richard would say. So we're going to take a look at this piece. We're going to see what's inside, the dimensions, Richard's quality of it. So it's in fair good condition, as we can tell. And on the side, we have here Joseph Beuys, Early Watercolors and Drawings, okay, by Shimmer Art Books. Okay, this is a Shimmer. And on the back, we have your standard barcode on the bottom, and of course, we have a picture of Mr. Joseph Beuys himself on the back, front and center, beautifully done. And according to this is Joseph Beuys, photographed by Willie Mayward in Cleve in 1950 when he was working on an art piece. Beautiful piece. Beautiful piece. Richard rates this book very highly. A very good piece. Everything done by him, everything done by everyone in this piece is magnificent. Beautifully done. Okay, and this book does have one of these skin tags that Richard is not a fan of, but nonetheless, he cannot help it. So as you can tell on the side, there is more Joseph Beuys early watercolors and drawings on that side as well. As we put that back on, we can get a glimpse of the insides and what actually forms and makes this book to be more proactive through its legitimacy. And the young girls that read this ultimately fall in love with Mr. Beuys through a delicate notion of being inside of an arena. Joseph Beuys, this is the same picture that was on the back, and we have yet to find a picture that is unflattering of Mr. Joseph Beuys. Of course, we're not going to go through everything because it would be giving up too much, but Richard just wants to show a few of the art pieces that are examined in this piece, all of which are Joseph Beuys himself, a beautiful masterpiece of an author, and some great stylistic colors that were brought to his attention through the Arabic do-rags of the 1970s and 80s. All of these pictures were painted himself through watercolors and arsenic atrocities that were nonetheless brought to Richard's attention through his past abbreviations. This, of course, is some scribble from the past owner. As you can tell, there's nothing on the back. This past scribble is going to ultimately lead this piece to be glowing down in the converted correctedness. Unfortunately, the TV, it will be brought down to about maybe a 3.6 or a 0.1. The ultimate grading systems that Richard puts for these pieces, unfortunately, that will be deducted off the top. This piece by Werner Schade nonetheless has brought magnificent attention to the players at hand, and Richard confines himself in this magnificent direction. He thinks that the author went through great fires and beautiful burns, which he ultimately found was happening to the author's mother, who was a lady from Trafina, and Trafina's burnt didn't give him the right extensive nature, but they had a heart attack, and everybody in the stands went down. They were watching from point A to point B, and he started buying stock in the governor, and they decided to buy stock in other things as well, mainly Alexander Hamilton and Christophe Cheetos, who went back to Trafina to buy a life of his own. So that's the backstory of this piece. That's why Richard felt so interested in it, and that's why Richard will maintain his interest in a piece of this. Richard gives this piece very high ratings. Richard's official rating for this is very high, past one of his highest, and Joseph Beuys' early watercolors and drawings are here to stay. So thank you, Richard, for that review. Thank you, Mr. Joseph Beuys, for this. This has been Richard Reviews, reviewing early watercolors and drawings by Joseph Beuys, here on Richard Reviews on richardreviews.com/GriffinChestnut. Thank you, Richard Reviews.